The following video was recorded by a group of construction workers who had been hired to renovate part of what appears to be an abandoned shopping mall, a massive structure that had long since fallen silent with shuttered storefronts, empty corridors, and entire sections left untouched for years. Places like this tend to develop stories of their own, simply because they're so empty that even the smallest movement immediately stands out. According to the workers, they were carrying out routine work when one of them noticed something unusual farther down a hallway and instinctively pulled out his phone to record. Watch. What appears to be a small child can be seen running before disappearing from sight. The figure moves quickly enough that it's difficult to make out clear details, but many viewers were immediately struck by how much it resembles a little girl darting through the abandoned building. Naturally, some people suggested a living child may have wandered into the property, especially if the building wasn't completely secured. But that explanation raises its own questions. Abandoned malls are often dangerous environments filled with hazards, exposed materials, and unstable areas, making them unusual places for a child to be running around unattended. Others focused on something else entirely: the location itself. Large abandoned buildings, particularly former schools, hospitals, theaters, and shopping centers, have long been associated with reports of phantom figures and unexplained sightings. In paranormal folklore, child apparitions are often described as fleeting manifestations, rarely remaining visible for more than a few seconds before vanishing around corners or through doorways. Witnesses frequently report seeing them running, playing, or moving through locations as though unaware that anyone is watching. So did the workers accidentally capture a child somewhere she wasn't supposed to be? Or did they record something that shouldn't have been inside that abandoned mall at all? You decide. In this next clip, a man had been going about his day at home when he started hearing something he couldn't explain what he describes as voices coming from his attic. Not faint background noise, but something that sounded to him like a full-blown conversation happening right above his head. He grabbed his phone and went up to check, but before reviewing the footage himself, he didn't notice anything. It was only when he watched the recording back that he realized something had been caught in the brief moment his camera swept upward into the dark. Watch.
I genuinely believe that I might have caught a ghost on camera in my attic. I just heard voices up in the attic and I went to go check, and then I watched the footage back and just watch it. Well, I don't see anything up here. I swear it sounded like somebody was having a full-blown conversation up here, like a one-way conversation. Sounded like a woman. I don't know. Did you see it? It was there and then it wasn't? Oh, I'm freaked out.
As he climbs into the attic, the camera's light sweeps across the rafters, and for about 1 second, a faint, wispy white shape drifts quickly from the left side of the frame to the right before vanishing entirely. It's translucent, fluid, not quite like dust, not quite like anything else. Skeptics would point to lens flare or a disturbance of airborne particles, and honestly, at this resolution, that's a reasonable argument. But if you watch closely, the movement has a direction and a flow that feels distinct from random debris. And then there's what he says afterward, that he heard what sounded like a woman's voice, coming from a space where nobody else was. Now in this next clip, A man working a closing shift at a large supermarket is doing exactly what you'd expect at the end of a long night, collecting carts, clearing out the aisles, wrapping things up before heading home. He's narrating casually into his phone in Spanish, explaining that the store is already shutting down and that only a handful of employees are still inside. It should be completely routine. But then, about 6 seconds in, something crosses the aisle ahead of him at the far end of the store. Watch.
Y ya la neta, ya la tienda ya la están cerrando. De hecho, estamos recogiendo ya los carros, llenando todo lo que se quedó en los... Mira, estoy viendo a un niño como jugando. Mira, ¿sí vieron? ¿Sí vieron? Y ya está, ya la tienda ya está cerrada. Ya, pues ya nada más estamos recogiendo lo de los pasillos. No mames, ¿sí vieron? Vete a la mierda. Y ya está todo cerrado aquí. Me voy a acercar. Míralo, ahí está como que jugando. Está como que metiéndose entre los pasillos. No me quiero ni acercar, la neta me da un chingo de miedo, pero... Ay, güey, ¿qué hago? A ver, me voy por acá. Y es que ya no hay nada de gente, ni siquiera están sus padres, o sea, no hay literalmente nadie. Niño, ya cerraron la tienda, vámonos. ¿Estás perdido? Niño. No mames, ya no está. Niño. Niño. ¿Estás perdido? Y ya la neta, ya la tienda ya la están cerrando. De hecho, estamos recogiendo ya los carros, llenando todo lo que se quedó en los... Mierda. A ver, ya tengo que acabar con esto, ¿Dónde se metió? Güey, ¿qué pedo? ¿Qué pedo? ¿Sí vieron? Ya no hay absolutamente nada. No mames. Esto es en la tienda donde trabajo. Y bueno, eso es lo que pasa. La verdad es que ya van varias noches que se escuchan ruidos y se ven apariciones. Pero bueno.
What darts across that aisle moves so fast, there's almost no time to register it a small, dark, humanoid shape, roughly the size of a child, crossing from one side to the other and vanishing behind the shelving. His gasp and the string of profanity that follows happen in the same breath. When he moves into a different section of the store, a second encounter begins, and this one is slower, which somehow makes it worse. A gray, shadowy figure is visible low to the ground, crawling on all fours in a disjointed, unnatural way, inching down the center of the aisle before disappearing behind a product display. He whispers that he thinks he's seen a child playing. He calls out into a dark aisle neo, "The store's closed, let's go, are you lost?" and nothing calls back. Some viewers immediately labeled it a duende, a small mischievous spirit recognized across Latin American and Spanish folklore, said to inhabit spaces where children once were. Others aren't convinced the footage is unaltered. But he later mentions this has been happening for several nights noises, apparitions, the same recurring presence in the aisles. What do you make of something that keeps coming back? Now in this next clip, a woman in Indonesia had been dealing with the same terrifying pattern every single night, and on June 1st of 2026, at exactly 3 a.m., her security camera caught the whole thing from start to finish. She'd set up the camera herself, according to the footage, because she needed proof of what was happening to her while she slept. The room looks ordinary enough: a bed, a white dresser, a closed door, but the timestamp ticking over to 3 a.m. is all it takes. Watch. The moment the clock hits 3 in the morning, a distorted lullaby starts playing on its own, a warped, slowed down version of Nina Bobo, a traditional Indonesian children's bedtime song that, in this context, sounds nothing like comfort. And that alone is terrifying. She wakes immediately, pulling her knees to her chest with her hands pressed over her ears, clearly sobbing. Then a loud bang from somewhere near the door. She finds the source, a small pink music box on the floor near her bed, and what follows is almost unbearable to watch. She slams it against her hand, against the mattress, throws it across the room. It doesn't stop. The music only becomes more warped and distorted, like something is deliberately slowing it down. She eventually breaks into a full panic, shoving items into a bag as if she's leaving that second, then gives up entirely, curls back into bed, and just cries. Nina Bobo, for those unfamiliar, is one of the most recognizable lullabies in Indonesian culture, sung to put children to sleep, which makes a corrupted version of it playing by itself in the dark feel like something is mocking the very idea of rest. If you look at the floor at the foot of the bed in those first few seconds, you'll also notice a small, dark-haired doll appears there almost instantaneously, and no one can quite explain where it came from. So what exactly is in that room with her? Now, in this next clip, a man is lying on his mattress on the floor of a small room late at night, scrolling on his phone, when a pillow on the floor near him starts doing something he can't immediately explain. He can hear the scraping, and from the sounds he makes, his first instinct is that someone nearby is pulling a prank on him, calling it out in Arabic, telling whoever's responsible to knock it off. He's clearly annoyed, not scared. Not yet. Watch.
كده حاجه جدع ما تعملهاش تاني بقى.
Something moves towards him, jerking and scraping several feet before stopping. When he reaches over and pulls the cover away to expose what's underneath, his scream tells you everything you need to know about what that felt like in the moment. Skeptics point to hidden strings or a wire pull mechanism, and the conveniently placed camera does raise questions. But others aren't so sure. Some believe certain objects can become vessels for unseen energy, especially when concealed. The following videos were recorded inside an old antique, filled home the kind of place that already feels like it carries something with it. Heavy decor, taxidermy on every wall, a corridor that reportedly turns ice cold without warning. The man who lives there says mornings have become the worst time of day. It's barely past 7 a.m., and before he's even had his coffee, his 2 ginger cats are already agitated, pacing and staring at nothing. He grabs his camera and starts walking through the house, asking out loud what it wants, and for a moment things stay quiet until they don't. Watch.
Okay, I'm just about to have my morning brew and these two are trying to get my attention again. What is it? What do you want, mate? Are you playing up again? At something past 7? The hell? I've literally got my suit ready to go. That's how early it is in the morning. What is it, boys? They always start acting up the clown when there's something about to go on. And they've been hitting at my legs to try and get me to... What the hell? Are you hearing this? It's banging. I would appreciate it if whatever is going on in here, you stop trying to destroy my things. What do you want? You can see something. I know you can. You can, can't you? That's moving. Well, I think it got banged. What do you want? Give it a break. Boys, stop fighting. See, they don't do this. Something's upset them. What is it, boys? Come on. Here we go with the coldness. The corridor's freezing. Most importantly, I have to get ready and go out for the day. What do you want? Is this Edith? The lady who's came through before? Hello? Where are you? Hello? What do you want? Are you in here? Show yourself. There's nobody here, see? What on earth?
What unfolds over the next few minutes is a sustained string of physical disturbances, bangs from off camera, a small red box thrown across the room from near the fireplace with no one visible near it, a framed picture shaking violently from an unseen impact, and then the moment that stops everything, a loud crack and crash as the front door, which he insists was locked, flies open on its own. sending a set of keys skittering across the floor. He goes outside, looks around, and there's nobody there. For viewers who followed similar cases, this pattern matches what paranormal researchers have long associated with poltergeist activity, a term that comes from the German words for rumbling spirit, used historically to describe a phenomenon that's less about haunting a place and more about targeting a specific person, often through escalating physical force. What makes it harder to dismiss is that poltergeist activity, according to accounts going back centuries, doesn't tend to fade quietly, it tends to push further until something forces a resolution. His cats seem to sense it before each event, which a lot of viewers found telling. Animals reacting ahead of the disturbances is a detail that keeps coming up in these kinds of cases. And whatever is in that house clearly wasn't done. The second clip was recorded in the same home this time, with a woman and a young girl present, both of them sitting on the couch when the woman suddenly says she's just seen a shadow on the wall, describing it as an old lady. The man filming sounds skeptical. Take a look.
Hello? We've just heard noises upstairs, but it's just us three in.
Oh, what's that? Right,
You okay?
right.
What?
I've just seen a shadow on the wall like an old lady.
Go away.
No, I'm not joking.
Are you joking?
Ah, right. Right, Carly, come in here, babe.
What the heck?
Come in here, Hal.
Hello?
Did you see it?
I didn't know.
Oh, God. You know, Hal.
Oh my word.
Oh, my God. I'm an idiot.
Right, okay. We're going into the garden, maybe?
Yeah, I'm taking away.
Yeah. Jesus. Get out of this home. You are not welcome. Get out. Jesus.
Within seconds of her saying it, a wine bottle and a glass carafe are violently thrown off a nearby table, no one close to them. No explanation. Then, before anyone can process that, the heavy brass fire screen and a long fire poker crash forward from the fireplace with a sharp metallic impact that sends the woman immediately calling for the child and heading toward the door. He addresses the room directly before they leave, telling whatever's there to get out. Some viewers believe the shadow the woman described, an old lady, could point to a former resident of the home still moving through it, confused or protective of the space. Others think what they're watching is a textbook poltergeist escalation, the activity growing louder and more physical each time the house is occupied. What no one seems able to answer is why it keeps getting worse, and whether telling it to leave has ever actually worked. The following video was recorded by a young woman at 3 in the morning. She'd been woken up by something she couldn't explain and reached for her phone to document it. She's filming from her bedroom, visibly exhausted, eyes watery, and the fear on her face is immediate. In Spanish, she tells whoever might be watching that she has to be up in 3 hours, that she's not going to open the door, and that she is absolutely not going to go check. Watch.
Son las 3 de la mañana y se le está dando por correr en el pasillo. No pienso abrir la puerta, no pienso ir a fijarme, son las 3 de la mañana. Yo me tengo que levantar en 3 horas y me despertó a escucharlo correr. No para.
The sound you hear throughout that entire clip is heavy rhythmic running coming from the hallway just beyond her door, and it doesn't stop once. Some believe this kind of 3 a.m. disturbance is tied to what many cultures call the Devil's Hour, a window considered spiritually vulnerable when unexplained activity is said to peak. Others think something more physical was moving through that hallway. But whatever it was, she never opened that door, and honestly, You can't blame her. The following video was recorded around 2:40 a.m. when a man wakes up alone in his dark bedroom and quickly notices something's wrong. The cupboard door across the room is open, and the light he always leaves on as a warning has gone out. He explains this quietly in a hushed and clearly frightened voice, saying he covers that light while he sleeps so the glare doesn't hit his eyes, but he keeps it on specifically so he knows when what he calls the haunting hour has begun. Tonight, it's off, and that alone tells him something has already started. He keeps the camera trained on the dark doorway at the far end of the room, barely moving, barely breathing. Watch.
Where's the cupboard open? The lights are off. You see, I normally keep that light on because that's how I get to know the haunting has begun or not. And that's why I've actually covered the lights so that it doesn't glare on my eyes while I'm sleeping. The cupboard is open right now. I'm alone in the room. It's at the door. Stop it! Stop it, please! Go fuck yourself, Jerry. Go fuck yourself. Shit. I'm not gonna stay here.
What starts as an uneasy silence erupts into something far more aggressive. Loud, metallic banging striking the door repeatedly, then a door handle rattling with violent force, the kind of sound that doesn't leave much room for a rational explanation. He shouts at it to stop, pleads with it, and then for just a few seconds, it does. The silence that follows is almost worse than the noise, and then a child's voice comes out of the dark, soft, clear, and completely disembodied, saying, "Daddy?" He doesn't hesitate. He screams back at it, calling it Jerry by name, which means this isn't the first time something has spoken to him like this. A loud crash follows immediately, as if whatever is in there responded to being called out. He scrambles out of bed and runs down the hallway toward the front door, not stopping once. Many believe mimicry is one of the most disturbing tools a negative presence can use, borrowing a voice that bypasses logic and hits somewhere much deeper. So, what exactly is Jerry, and why does it know what to say? Now, in this next clip, a woman who works in an emergency room starts noticing something she can't explain during one of her overnight shifts. A vital signs monitor in an empty room keeps powering on by itself and displaying readings that, according to every rule of how that equipment works, simply shouldn't be possible. She'd already reset the monitor, turned it off, confirmed no patients were assigned to it. Watch.
So there's nobody in this room. The leads are against the wall. And that's what it's reading.
The monitor is showing a heart rate, 56 beats per minute at first, then slowly climbing, then dropping down into the 40s before the leads off alarm triggers. She pans the camera down to show you the leads hanging loose against the wall, not attached to anything. There's nobody in this room, she says. The leads are against the wall, and that's what it's reading. Some believe hospitals hold residual energy from patients who pass there, something that imprints on the equipment itself. Others aren't so sure. What exactly was that monitor picking up? The following clips were all recorded by the same man, and taken together, they paint a picture of something building. Something that started with a strange sound in a dark attic and kept getting worse no matter what he did. In the first video, he's out in what appears to be a shed or garage during the day, working on tools, when he starts hearing something coming from a closet in the back, one that leads up into an attic through a fixed wooden ladder. He openly admits he's never been up there, not once since he bought the house. He's clearly unsettled even before he opens that door. Watch.
You can believe me or not, I don't care, but listen to this. I'm out in the shed, working on tools. Listen, if I hear it again, dude, I swear to God, there's something up in this attic, man. I'm not getting up in here and shit. Do you hear that? Dude, oh my God, bro. Oh my God, man. There's something in this neighborhood, dude. Oh my God. Dude, I don't know what to do in a situation like this. Do you hear this shit, man? This thing was built before I bought this house, man. I've never gone up here one time. What was that, man? There's stuff up here. Left from the previous owner. Oh. Oh my God, dude. Oh my.
Twice, from somewhere above, a high-pitched wailing sound rises out of the darkness, something between a cat meowing and a baby crying. He shuts the door, opens it again, hears it a second time, and then, against every instinct, he climbs up anyway. The moment the camera breaches the attic floor, the sound hits again, close, sharp, and this time almost forming a word. He drops the camera and the video cuts. For a lot of viewers, that specific quality of the sound is what stuck with them. It's too structured to be wind, too close to be a stray animal on the roof. Some people pointed to the possibility of a trapped animal. Cats in particular are known to find their way into attic spaces and produce sounds that can genuinely unnerve people in an enclosed space. But others weren't so quick to explain it away, especially given what came next. In the second clip, he's back. Same shed, same attic, same setup. And this time, he tells the camera he's already been out there and heard more noises since. He makes his way to that same dark opening and calls out into the black. Listen closely.
So if you watch my first video, if you believe it or you don't, that's fine. But I have been hearing some noises up in the attic in my shed. People told me to be quiet. You try to do this. But I've been out here, already heard some noises, so. People said it could be raccoons and shit. So, if there's raccoons or pigeons, I don't. Hey, is anybody up here? Is anybody up here? Oh my God, dude. Oh my God.
When he asks, "Is anybody up here?" something answers. A loud bang hits back from the darkness almost immediately. Sharp, deliberate, like a response. He asks again. And then, from deep inside that unlit space, something releases a guttural, multi-toned roar that doesn't match any common animal sound. He runs. That sound is the detail that split viewers most. Skeptics argued it could be a large raccoon or even a fisher cat, an animal notorious for producing shockingly aggressive and non-human vocalizations. But the way the bang responded directly to his question, the apparent call and response quality of it, is the part that's harder to rationalize away, because random animal noise doesn't typically time itself to what a person just said. By the third visit, he's back with his phone's flashlight on this time, and you can tell he's been losing sleep over this. His knees are shaking before he even gets to the ladder. He pushes the camera up into the attic and calls out a third time. Watch closely.
All right, you guys don't believe me, and that's fine. I've been out here again trying to organize these tools. I'm going to show you what I've heard up there, and I've seen something moving. So you can believe me or you don't have to. I don't care, but watch this shit. My knees, I'm literally shaking. If you guys... All right. How do I turn the light on this? All right, I got the light on. Listen to this. Listen to this. Dude, I'm telling you, man. Is anybody up here? Is anybody up here? Oh my God. Is anybody up here? Hey, is it? Oh my God!
On the attic floor, a small metal object slides several inches with no visible cause. Then, deeper in the space, a dark container near the back moves, and a solid, humanoid figure rises from behind it, silhouetted against a faint light at the far end. It holds there for a moment, then lunges. He screams and the camera goes down. That figure is what the entire comment section fixated on. Some people immediately called it a person, someone squatting in the attic, possibly a trespasser who had been living up there undetected, which honestly might be the most disturbing explanation of all. Others pointed to the shape and the way it rose, too abrupt, too still before it moved, and went somewhere else entirely. In paranormal communities, the idea of an entity that occupies enclosed, liminal spaces like attics and crawl spaces has a long history. Some traditions describe these as threshold guardians, presences that are drawn to the boundary between lived space and forgotten space. Whether or not you buy that framing, the figure in that attic is not easy to dismiss. That changed everything. Then came his Ring camera. He shares a clip from his property at dusk, showing a dark, indistinct shape near the tree line at the edge of the yard, and the audio that came with it is unlike anything in the earlier clips.
Oh, I'm done. I'm done. Look at this video. But I have no words for whatever that noise was. And where the fuck is my Ring camera? I just got that today. Dude. Thoughts? Comments? Man, I'm almost speechless.
A series of guttural, wet-sounding grunts and wheezing roars erupts from the direction of the woods. His dog, heard barking in the background the entire time, is frantic. And then the Ring camera itself is physically grabbed or knocked from its position, the view lurching violently before the footage cuts. He comes back on camera afterward looking genuinely shaken, asking where his camera even went. The sounds from the tree line don't match the attic vocalizations exactly. They're heavier, more animal. But the pattern of something responding to his presence, then making physical contact, lines up in a way that's uncomfortable to ignore. Some viewers familiar with Dogman or Bigfoot encounter reports pointed to the vocalizations as consistent with those cases. Others weren't ready to go that far and suggested a large territorial animal, possibly a bear. But a bear doesn't knock a security camera off its mount with apparent intent. And whatever had been in that attic didn't behave like a bear either. The most recent clip in the series brings a different kind of dread. It's 5 in the morning, pitch dark, and he's in a room near a window he left open in the hallway. Listen closely.
Listen to me right now. It is 5 o'clock in the fucking morning, and I hear something coming out of my window. Shit. Oh my god, I had the light on, dude. There is something walking around outside of my window.
Seriously, did you hear that? Rewind it if you didn't. What was that? I was in my room down the hallway and I left the den window open and I was hearing like walking and twigs. It did not sound like normal. And I was like, shit, I left the window open. And that's what I heard. Hold on, there's more.
I could hear it down the hallway. You hear that? Where is it coming from? I can't see it. Goddamn.
Could I be blowing this out of proportion? I mean, possibly, but like I genuinely heard something. Listen to it, rewind it, and turn it up and tell me if you didn't hear something too. You know, and mind you, that was at 5 o'clock in the morning.
2 soft, deliberate taps land on the glass or wall from outside. Then, immediately after, a raspy, disembodied voice whispers what sounds unmistakably like, "Come here." He cuts to a daytime debrief in his car to explain what he was hearing. Walking, twigs, movement near the window, and then the nighttime footage resumes and a prolonged scratching sound begins along the exterior wall, like something with claws is dragging itself along the outside of the house. He whispers that he can hear it moving down the hallway. He can't see anything through the screen. That whispered voice is the detail that most people couldn't shake because the sounds in the attic were strange, but they were sounds. A voice is something else. It implies awareness, something that knew he was on the other side of that window and wanted him to open it. Whether that's a person, an animal that has learned patterns, or something that has been circling this property for longer than any of these videos have been rolling. I'll leave that to you to decide. But what I can tell you is that across all 5 of these clips, the activity hasn't stayed in one place and it doesn't seem to be stopping. The following video is about a family and the terrifying pace at which the strange activity inside their home has been escalating, turning what was once a normal living space into somewhere they no longer feel safe being alone. It all began one afternoon when the wife was home alone. Her husband had already left for work and she had fallen asleep on a chair in the living room. She suddenly woke up coughing violently, her throat burning, and as she caught her breath, she noticed a smell filling the air. Thick, sour, and unmistakable. The smell of rotten eggs. At first, she assumed it was something ordinary, maybe spoiled food, a gas leak, or something left in the trash. She searched the kitchen, the drains, the trash bins. She cleaned thoroughly, top to bottom, but nothing explained it. Then, just as suddenly as it appeared, it vanished. Weeks passed and the smell returned, but this time it would appear without warning, linger for only a few minutes, then disappear again. No source and no explanation. But soon, the smell became the least of their fears. They would wake up in the middle of the night to the sound of loud, agonizing screams echoing through the house, screams that didn't belong to either of them. Religious crosses they had hung on their walls would slowly rotate and sometimes be found upside down by morning, something many believe is a deliberate sign of mockery or defiance towards symbols of protection. Other nights, someone would knock on the front door, slow and deliberate, but when they opened it, no one was there. And sometimes, multiple doors would slam violently at the same time, as if something unseen was moving freely through every room, like this.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
After that night, they were shaken enough to temporarily leave the house. They stayed away, trying to convince themselves it could be explained, but deep down, they knew something had changed. During that time away, the husband came to a disturbing realization. He remembered a visit he had made months earlier to an abandoned Catholic church, a place locals avoided. He recalled feeling uneasy while inside, hearing faint noises behind him, and feeling as if he wasn't alone. At the time, he dismissed it as imagination, but now, seeing what was happening in his home, he began to wonder if something had followed him back. But the next video he shared complicated that theory even further. For several nights, he began hearing faint music somewhere inside the house. After searching room after room, tearing the house apart trying to find the source, he finally discovered where it was coming from. Watch.
I don't know if it's exactly or this specific thing, but after playing with it, I did notice it, that it was this doll. So that doll that I have here on my 666 chair, right, has been making some weird sound. Now, what kind of sounds or who could have been provoking the doll, right? But if you listen to this, on the back of this doll, there's actually a latch, which is right there. So that latch there, if you spin it, it will make some sound. I will show you. So this doll here, if you take the outside rank right here, twist it, and I won't twist it too much, but look. And that is the same exact sound I was hearing. Now y'all, let me tell you something. I'm not sure what's activating this or what's causing it to sing, but tonight I will let this GoPro go live for the rest of the night. See what is provoking this to sing. The thing is that when I come out of my room right there, this thing stops singing.
The doll was the kind that only plays music when its latch is manually turned, so this raised a far more disturbing possibility. Some believe objects, especially dolls, can act as vessels. Unlike other objects, dolls resemble human forms, giving entities something easier to attach to, something easier to manipulate, but others believe something even darker may already be inside the house itself, something using the doll not as a home, but as a tool. So he set up cameras because he wanted proof. Watch. Some viewers believe the doll itself may now be the focal point, acting as a host for whatever entered the home. Others believe the activity started long before the doll, and whatever is in the house is simply using it to make its presence known in a way the family cannot ignore. And the fact that crosses are turning upside down only deepens the fear, because in many documented cases, entities believed to be malevolent will deliberately target religious symbols as a way of asserting dominance over the space and those living inside it. But until more footage is shared, this terrifying case remains unsolved. This next video was recorded by Nate, a man whose home has become the center of a long and deeply unsettling series of events that have only grown more aggressive over time. For months, Nate has documented objects moving on their own, utensils being thrown without warning, and disembodied whispers that seem to come from nowhere. His kitchen, in particular, has become the focal point of the activity, a place where things don't simply fall. They are thrown, as if something unseen is deliberately trying to make its presence known. Over time, viewers who have followed his story have watched the escalation. It began with small disturbances, soft taps, subtle movements, things easily dismissed. But soon, knives and scissors were thrown across the room, not dropped, not knocked over, but launched with force. The kind of force that suggests intention. One morning, his dog began acting restless, pacing, staring toward the kitchen, reacting to something Nate couldn't see. Moments later, a loud bang shattered the silence, and for someone who hadn't known peace in his home for months, his reaction wasn't finding a logical explanation, it was investigating.
Alright, so I just heard something. I don't know where it was coming from, either the basement or the kitchen. Not sure where, but it sounded like a bang or something. The dog is reacting to it, so not sure what that was. Is that the wall? I don't know what that was. What the fuck? Okay, those were there. Holy shit. Door's locked.
From the right side of the kitchen, something suddenly flies through the air. You can see the metal object clearly, reflecting light as it travels across the kitchen before crashing violently into the sink. What makes this moment especially disturbing is the fact that this isn't the first time. So, is whatever that's in the house only trying to scare him, or is it testing how far it can go? This time, it wasn't just the movement that unsettled viewers, it was the sound. Some people who turned their volume all the way up toward the end of the clip claim they heard a faint whisper, a single word, "Daddy." And then, on another Sunday morning, something even more disturbing was captured. Watch.
When you're sitting on a Sunday morning, having a cup of coffee, and you see all I can describe as a dark smoke or mist or cloud or something come up the basement stairs and move into the kitchen. Back door is locked. Both locks. It came up from the basement. Like right down there. Hello?
This time, whispers can be heard, but most people couldn't make out the exact words. Some listeners claim the first whisper says, "Why don't you like me?" followed later by, "Can't you hear me?" If true, those words change everything. And once again, it happens in the kitchen. This has led some viewers to speculate that whatever is present may be tied specifically to that location. Some believe it could be the spirit of someone connected to the house's past, possibly someone who once lived there, someone who felt ignored, abandoned, or unseen. Others believe it could be something far darker, something pretending to sound vulnerable in order to gain sympathy and attention. But I'll leave you to be the judge. Now, in this next clip, a man decides to record the terrifying things he experiences anytime he stays late at work alone. What makes the situation especially unsettling is the pattern he has noticed over time. According to him, the activity never happens during the day when the office is full, never when people are moving around or making noise. It only begins when everyone has left, when the building becomes quiet, empty, and still. Some nights he heard faint tapping sounds coming from inside the office itself, like fingers lightly drumming on wood, and over time he started to feel watched.
Kalau masuk, nggak usah main-main pintu. Tutup lagi nyamuknya. Ngapain? Ya Allah, makin iseng aja lah. Hei. Astagfirullahaladzim. Udah dulu yang bagus. Hey.
The door slowly creaks open on its own, then something even more disturbing appears. A face. Moments like this are especially disturbing because they suggest that whatever is causing this isn't somewhere far away, it's right there, inside the room, moving within his space. The following clip was captured by a lady's security camera. One morning, while going through her movement notifications from the night before, she noticed an alert triggered at a strange hour, a time when she was certain everyone in the house was asleep and nothing should have been moving. Curious, she opened the footage, and what she saw immediately gave her chills. Watch. A shadow slowly pops out by the door and doesn't fully reveal itself. It peeks carefully, like something was checking if the area was clear before stepping out. What makes this especially disturbing is the fact that she doesn't have any pets, nothing that could have created a shadow of that size or shape, and no one else had access to the house that night. Viewers later asked for more context, so she shared the full video. Watch. The first thing that came to some people's minds was a rat. But isn't it too big to be a rat? I'd leave you to be the judge on this one. This next video was sent in by a lady's cousin who had recently installed a motion detecting security camera in her basement, mainly as a precaution, never expecting it would capture something that would leave her questioning what might be inside her home when she isn't there. According to her, no one was at home at the time, nothing that should have triggered the alert. So when she received a motion notification coming from the basement, a place no one had entered that entire day, she immediately felt uneasy. Still, she opened the footage. Have a look. She believes the white object might be a dryer sheet, especially since the washer and dryer are positioned to the left of the frame. But what makes this difficult to explain is the fact that there is no draft down there. The basement windows are made of sealed glass cubes that cannot be opened, meaning there is no clear airflow that could push something that deliberately across the floor. But what truly terrified her wasn't just the movement, it was the sound. If you listen closely, faint footsteps can be heard, slow and heavy, followed by a low growling or rumbling noise, something deep, something unnatural, something that doesn't sound like it belongs in an empty basement. And again, there was nobody home at the time. Some believe entities prefer lower levels of homes because they are quieter, more isolated, easier to occupy without being disturbed. Others believe growling sounds are especially concerning, often linked in paranormal reports to entities that are not passive, not harmless, but aware, territorial, and capable of interacting with their environment. So now, if no one was home, what exactly triggered the camera? Now in this next clip, popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian continues his investigation inside the infamous Blackford County Jail, a location widely regarded as one of the most feared and talked about haunted buildings in the state of Indiana. This time, Ian decides to explore one of the most avoided parts of the building, the attic. According to local rumors and previous investigators, this attic is believed to be haunted by the spirit of a young girl, an entity said to appear unexpectedly and interact with objects left behind. So Ian brings along a few trigger objects, including a stuffed animal, hoping to encourage communication. Watch.
Here, that was hung from this. Whoa. Dude, I think I just saw an orb fly by that thing. If that was you, could you do that again? Were you hung here? Were you executed here?
Dude. Oh my god, dude. Oh my god. Dude, that thing is swaying back and forth. I can't believe that. Dude, it's literally just started swaying back and forth. Dude, now it's slowing down. It stopped. Dude.
As he scans the attic, something unusual begins to happen. Near an old noose hanging from the ceiling, a faint orb appears, hovering close to it. At first it seems subtle, almost easy to miss, but then the noose itself begins to swing. Many paranormal investigators believe objects like nooses can carry heavy emotional residue, especially in places where suffering or death may have occurred, making them potential focal points for spiritual energy. But what happens next is even harder to explain. Watch.
I can't stay up here. I can't. I can barely see. My freaking flashlight's dying too. Alright. I've had enough. I'm sorry, little girl. Thank you.
From somewhere in the darkness, the stuffed animal he placed earlier is suddenly thrown to the floor. Unfortunately, he didn't capture the exact moment, but moments later, Ian captures something even more disturbing. Listen carefully. A faint giggle echoes from the darkness, and it sounds like a little girl giggling. It's often warned that childlike laughter in haunted locations may not always be what it seems, as some believe certain entities imitate children to appear harmless and lower a person's guard. Until more investigations reveal the truth, what Ian captured inside that attic remains one of the most chilling and unexplained moments inside the Blackford County Jail. For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. The following clip was captured by Amanda, who's had some of the strangest encounters inside her home. About 2 weeks after she moved in, she woke up one morning to shocking news. A body had been found in her backyard. And according to Amanda, ever since that day, the house hasn't felt the same. Have a look.
I am freaked the f out. I just got home and tell me why my chairs are like this. Like what the f. I literally still have my coat on. I come walking through the fucking... Oh my god. I'm like shaking right now. I just went and dropped my daughter off to her dad's house. And all the chairs were around the table. What the f. Oh my god. I need to call my mom.
Chairs don't end up like this by accident, and this is not something caused by drafts, pets, or structural shifts. In paranormal discussions, this kind of activity is often linked to an intelligence trying to be noticed, especially when the setup is visually striking rather than destructive. Since then, Amanda says doors open on their own, lights flicker and malfunction, and the house feels different, heavier, quieter, like something is always just out of view. Some believe the discovery of the body may have triggered residual energy tied to trauma, while others think the attention and disturbance surrounding the property may have awakened something that was already there. Skeptics argue stress and fear can heighten awareness, making ordinary issues feel sinister, but others point out that recurring physical changes, especially ones involving multiple objects, are harder to dismiss. Now, Amanda just wants to know one thing. Is there a chance this all has a normal explanation? Or is this a situation that requires real intervention before it escalates? What do you think? This next video was captured by a family's security camera, installed after everyone in the house woke up to a loud bang in the middle of the night, followed by several other unsettling incidents they couldn't explain. Hoping to catch whatever was happening, they set up cameras. Take a look. Aside from the obvious breathing sound, viewers immediately notice something else. On the right side of the screen, along the staircase, something moved. When the family reviewed this footage, it made other moments fall into place. Just weeks earlier, the sister of one of the couples living here called her and asked what she was doing standing on her front porch. Now here's the problem. She wasn't home. She was at work, nowhere near the house. But the anxiety in the house escalated when the family noticed their dogs reacting. Watch this.
What is wrong, Cole? Stop barking. Kona! Knock it off! Hey! Barking at the door again. No one's there. Kona qui. No one's there, honey. Nobody's here. It's all good. It's all good in the hood.
The dog repeatedly barks at the door, staring at it with focus. Not playful, not distracted, but locked in, as if responding to something it can sense but humans can't. Animals are often said to react to subtle changes in energy, sound frequencies, or presence long before people do. And when pets fixate on empty spaces, doors, or corners, many believe it's because something unseen has crossed into our world. And if you look at the activities they've experienced, the breathing caught on camera, the movement on the stairs, the mimic sighting on the porch, and the dogs reacting, this no longer feels like a single incident. It feels like a pattern. So could this be heightened anxiety and coincidence? Or is something inside the house slowly making itself known, watching, copying, and waiting? You decide. Now, in this next video, Nate, who's been trying to get to the bottom of whatever is happening inside his house, captures something new on camera. By now, his experiences follow a disturbing pattern. He wakes up to objects scattered across his kitchen floor, his dog refuses to enter certain corners of the house, and the sound of footsteps moving along the stairs when no one else is home. One night, while waiting for a UFC fight to start, he begins hearing something unusual. Listen closely.
Guys, I want you guys to check this out. So, I'm just chilling here, waiting for the UFC fights to start. Dog's there. And I'm just sitting here. I was re-racking my weights. And I was hearing the scratching. And it sounded like it was coming from like right in front of me. But I don't see anything. Like, up. I heard it. But I was like looking. And it sounded like it was coming from like... You hear that? What the f is that? It sounded like it was coming from like right in front here, but... I don't see anything else. What the f? Like, I have no clue.
Hearing scratching or dragging sounds can mean something is trying to mark territory or test physical boundaries, especially when it happens repeatedly in the same areas of a home. Another detail viewers couldn't ignore is Nate's environment. His house is almost always dark. Many believe prolonged darkness, cluttered spaces, and low lighting can make activity feel stronger, either by heightening fear or, according to paranormal belief, by creating conditions where negative entities feel more comfortable. Another night, a different sound woke him. This time, it wasn't scratching, it was stomping, and when Nate got up to check the house, this happened.
Hey guys. So I was upstairs and was woken up to the sound of stomping down here. I mean, loud stomping. It is currently 2:52 a.m. So it's a little before 3 a.m. And the weird thing about it is when I woke up to the sound of the stomping, The dog was sleeping, not even alerted. It's almost like she couldn't hear it. So, as soon as I came down, I walked into like a cold spot. It felt like a certain area was cold. But it was loud. It was such a loud stomp. Like I said, it's 2:50, 3 a.m.
Scratching, stomping, footsteps, all familiar at this point. But what truly unsettled him was something else entirely. His dog didn't react. Normally, animals respond instantly to loud physical sounds, yet during the stomping, his dog remained unusually calm, as if it either couldn't hear it or didn't perceive it the same way Nate did. Some believe the dog may have already learned to avoid reacting, but this concern quickly became secondary. Because the next morning, Nate woke up to something far more disturbing: scratches on his body. If this had happened once, it's easy to say he accidentally scratched himself while he was asleep, a reaction to fabric, even stress-related skin irritation. But it didn't stop. It kept happening. And on the morning after the stomping incident, he recorded this. Watch.
So the people that were asking for a better view of the scratch that I woke up with on my leg. Here it is. Like I said, it's not super deep, but it goes down pretty far. And I also noticed on the opposite side, I have two here on the same leg, but on the opposite side, that I woke up this morning with. Now, these ones didn't burn as bad as this one. This one was 2 mornings ago when I woke up. This burned, and I looked down and saw that. And then this morning when I got up at like 2:30 a.m., I woke up to stomping downstairs. And it wasn't until after I worked out and everything that I noticed these. So, yeah, that's the update.
As Nate shows the marks on his body, many viewers begin connecting everything. The scratching sounds at night, the dragging noises, the stomping footsteps, and now, physical marks appearing while he sleeps. This points to something more than a simple house haunting. Physical interaction, especially repeated scratching, is often cited in cases involving attachments rather than locations. Some believe this points towards something escalating, moving from environmental disturbances to personal interaction. Others think whatever is in the house may be trying to assert control, feeding on fear, isolation, or even exhaustion. And the most disturbing part, the activity isn't random anymore. It's consistent. And it's getting closer. So whether it's an attachment, an oppressive presence, or something feeding off the darkness and silence, one thing is clear. Whatever this is, it's no longer staying in the shadows. And until Nate gets answers, this case remains deeply unsettling and completely unsolved. In the following video, a woman's first son is home alone, quietly watching TV when he suddenly hears someone call his name. At first, he doesn't think much of it, until he responds and hears the voice again. This time, it sounds exactly like his little brother. Watch.
Hola. ¿Quién es?
Soy yo. ¿Tú? ¿Quieres jugar a la pelota?
Pero la Chu no se había ido al médico con mi madre. ¡Hijo de p***!
Hola, Michael. No, si la Chu está acá en el médico, estamos en el médico acá, vamos a demorar un poco para llegar. No estamos en casa.
The confusion sets in immediately. His brother isn't home, he's at the hospital with their mother, waiting to see a doctor. So there's no possible reason for his voice to be inside the house. But many viewers believe he didn't handle the situation well when he responded. In paranormal folklore, responding to a voice you can't verify is often considered a mistake, especially when the voice belongs to someone who physically isn't there. Many believe mimics rely on acknowledgement, and once you answer, you're confirming awareness, opening the door for further interaction. That's why one of the most repeated rules in cases like this is simple: don't respond, don't investigate, and don't follow the voice. As for what this could be, most people landed on two possibilities: a mimic or a doppelganger. And while the terms are often used interchangeably online, there's an important difference. A mimic imitates voices to provoke a response. It doesn't need to be seen. It feeds on confusion and fear, using familiar voices to draw someone in, often calling names or repeating phrases. Also, it's usually heard before it's ever seen, if it's seen at all. A doppelganger, on the other hand, is typically visual. It's believed to appear as a full physical copy of a person, seen walking, standing, or watching, sometimes even interacting briefly before disappearing. Doppelgangers are less about sound and more about presence. In this case, there's no figure, no visual confirmation, just a voice, perfectly copied, calling out from inside the house. That leans heavily toward a mimic, and once a voice knows you'll answer, it rarely stops calling. So, which was it? You decide. Now, in this next clip, popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian continues his investigation inside the infamous Boyd house. At this point, he's still inside the room with the haunted painting, the same room where the power mysteriously died the moment the artwork was brought in. Earlier, Ian heard a heavy dragging sound echo through the room. Most people would have left immediately, but Ian didn't. Instead of backing out, he stayed put and began slowly scanning the room, hoping to capture something. Watch closely.
See if anyone's out in the hallway here.
Oh my god.
Calm down. Oh, calm down. That sounded like a growl. And worst of all, it came from that closet that I was just in. Okay. Oh gosh. Gosh. Oh, whoa, what the hell is that? Dude, what the
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Oh my god.
Okay, I'm ready to get the hell out of here. There's something in there. There's something in there.
Aside from the low, unsettling growl that can be heard, something far more disturbing appears on his thermal camera. When you look closer, the shape resembles a distorted human face, and this room has a long history of activity. Ever since that painting arrived, the disturbances seem to center there. No electricity, sudden noises, and now, a possible manifestation. Many believe cursed objects can act as anchors, giving something a place to attach itself, feed from, and eventually show itself. If that's true, then this raises an unsettling question. Was this the first time the entity tied to the painting allowed itself to be seen? Or has it always been there, just waiting for someone to stay long enough to notice it? For more haunting videos, including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. In this next clip, a man who works the night shift at a school in the United States has been documenting the strange things he keeps encountering during his alone hours, and according to him, the building doesn't stay quiet for long. He films the fog-heavy parking lot before heading inside, and as he moves through the dark corridors, whispering to the camera that he's completely alone, the unease is immediate. Empty hallways stretch ahead of him, red exit signs glowing in the distance, the kind of school that feels entirely different once the students are gone. Watch.
estoy yo solo.
There are actually several moments layered through this clip that are hard to dismiss individually, let alone together. A loud mechanical whirring kicks in the moment he stops near the restroom sign, though no one is near it. A yellow cleaning duster is wedged impossibly high on a wall near the ceiling. Not dropped, not tossed, just stuck there. A door at the far end of a dark hallway slowly swings open on its own. Then, in the final seconds, the one that really unsettles people. A disembodied laugh, clearly that of a young girl, echoes through the empty corridor while he's the only person in the building. No explanation has been offered for the laughter, and it's the detail that stayed with viewers the most. What exactly is keeping this man company during his night shifts? This next video was recorded inside a man's home after he began hearing a series of unexplained banging sounds coming from his basement, the kind of noises that most people would try to rationalize away, but that he decided to go investigate on camera. He'd heard nothing like it before, and the moment he grabs his phone and starts filming, you can already hear the unease in his voice as he makes his way toward the basement door. He descends into a cluttered, unfinished space, exposed brick, rough concrete floors, cardboard boxes stacked against the walls, and that's when things stop being subtle. Watch.
Alright, so I just started hearing banging coming from the basement, which is not happened yet before. There it is. There it is. What the f... Let's go check this out. Sketchy shit up in this house, man. No, it's going from upstairs now. Holy shit. What the fuck? Why are you doing this? Hell, what the? Oh no.
A metal stand is violently thrown over with a crash that fills the room, and then, before he can even process it, the banging shifts, now coming from the ceiling above him. He runs back upstairs in a panic, and what he finds in the kitchen stops him cold. Every single cabinet door and drawer has been flung wide open, as though something tore through the room while he was one floor below. And then a second crash erupts from the living room, sending a red ceiling lampshade swinging wildly. Nothing was visible. Nothing was there. What makes this so hard to dismiss is the pattern. The activity didn't stay in one place. It moved with him, almost as if it was aware of where he was. Many believe this type of behavior points toward poltergeist activity, a term rooted in German meaning noisy ghost, traditionally associated not with a haunted location, but with a disruptive energy that interacts physically and aggressively with its environment. Skeptics argue the sequence could be staged, but his breathing, ragged, panicked, completely uncontrolled, is difficult to fake for over 2 straight minutes. The second clip takes a very different approach to capturing something unexplained. A person was invited to explore a rundown building after its owner reported strange noises coming from upstairs, and as they climbed the staircase, they described an overwhelming feeling of being followed. At the top, they turned around. Nothing was there. Listen closely. The still photograph taken on that staircase shows something the naked eye apparently missed. A large, misty, semi-transparent formation hovering in the alcove below, roughly shaped like a human bust rising from the steps. Some viewers immediately called it an apparition, while others pointed to more grounded explanations like dust disturbed by movement or a long camera exposure catching ambient vapor. But the shape is specific enough that it's hard to fully dismiss, and the feeling the person described of being followed up those stairs makes the image sit a little differently than a random smear of light would. What exactly was behind them on that staircase? The following clips were recorded by a man who has spent the last several weeks trying to convince himself there's a rational explanation for what's been happening on his property, and failing. It starts with something that seems almost mundane, a trail in the woods behind his backyard, unnaturally clean, swept clear of leaves and debris, maintained by someone or something he's never been able to identify. His wife has been spotting a stranger near the shed, a man in a red shirt pacing close enough to almost touch the building, who never answers when she calls out to him. When she yells, he doesn't respond. When she warns him the dog might come out, nothing. He simply disappears back into the woods and exits down the driveway like he belongs there. The trail, the stranger, the shed, 3 separate things that the man filming keeps insisting are unrelated to what's actually been terrifying his family. Watch.
Hold on, so they were back there doing what?
Yesterday was to get a dog, 12:30, remember?
Yeah.
And today, it was just walking with the dog. I don't know if the dog got loose or something.
So what did you do? You yelled at them?
I was screaming. The person was in the wood. First, it was behind the second shed, but then when I got outside to check why Molly was barking, it was was in the woods. But I was able to see the red shirt.
You saw a red shirt and you yelled at them and they didn't say anything?
They didn't say anything.
What did you say?
I said, hey, everything okay? And it didn't answer. And then, hey, I can see you're in the red shirt. Everything okay? And then never answered.
Oh my god.
And I said, hey, should I let the dog out? And then never answered.
Oh my gosh.
Doorbell was like, hey, I'm sorry, my dog was loose.
So how far were they back in the woods?
This time, behind the green thing in there.
They're behind the electrical box.
Yes, but before I went outside,
So he was
when my mom saw it was behind the second shed on our property.
It was that close to the second shed?
Yes.
So he was right beside the shed?
Yes.
That's bizarre, man. I mean, if someone was walking this close to your house, and like I said, if you've seen the picture already, he's walking apparently like close enough that he can almost touch the shed. And not only that, when he leaves back here, he's not just walking away in the woods. He comes down our driveway. So that means he's right here. He's walking back and forth, and then he walks in my yard and just goes right out the driveway. Bro, I mean, trespassing? Yeah. B, sketchy as hell? Yeah. And like, these things aren't locked. Like, I've lived here forever and like, I've had no reason to ever lock this stuff. I mean, I never had to worry. So now we got the dog out here sniffing around, trying to figure out what the hell is going on in here. But we're not even going in there today. I bet you the door's open too. Bet you the door's open. Come on, man, come on.
He walks out of those woods and straight to the shed to show us a reddish-brown stain soaked deep into the plywood floor, and the groan he lets out says everything he can't put into words. That stain doesn't come with an explanation, and despite his insistence that the trespasser has nothing to do with what's been going on in the attic, the timing is difficult to ignore, because what's been happening in that shed and the structure above it goes well beyond a stranger with a dog. From the Ring camera mounted inside, sounds started coming through that no one could account for. Scratching, tearing, something ripping through the insulation. And when the man first went in to check, it clearly wasn't his first difficult night dealing with it. Watch closely.
Let me show you guys. I don't have any outlets up there, and this is all I can do. Look, all I can do is run that here and set it down. That's the best I can get for Ring cameras to try to reach up here. So, man, I'm almost in tears, bro. Like, I'm almost in tears. It looked like something ripped a hole in there. I'm gonna have to look back in videos and see if that thing was ripped like that. Man.
He stands beneath the dark attic opening, nearly in tears, pointing at a freshly torn hole in the insulation he swears wasn't there before, yelling at something he can't see to just show itself. And then, it answers. A low, rumbling growl rolls out of the attic space, then another, then a sharp bang. He doesn't run, but you can hear the fight going out of his voice, replaced by something closer to desperation. Some who followed cases like this point to the combination of physical damage and audio response as a sign of what's often called an intelligent haunting, meaning whatever is present isn't just residual energy repeating itself, but something that reacts, something that knows it's being addressed. Others think the sounds have a more grounded explanation, possibly a large animal nesting in the attic space. But animals don't growl back when you tell them you can't sleep. That doesn't track. The activity he's been documenting didn't stay contained to one visit, either. It escalated into something he felt compelled to compile for people who hadn't been watching from the beginning. Take a look.
I didn't want to say this, but as of right now, I know for sure there's some type of demonic entity or presence on my property as we speak, and it's happening right now. It's happening during the night. It's happening during the day. It does not matter. In here, man, I'm over it. Oh my God. I have caught every noise imaginable, from groaning to something sounding like it's in pain to screaming. To laughing, to clawing. There's weird 1920s style music playing. People have told me to sage the house. Then people said don't. And then people are telling me to get a priest and an investigator. And then people are telling me don't do that. I've never experienced anything like this, but what is happening right now is shape-shifting every day and is turning into something that I can't even explain. Molly, you wanna come in? Yeah. I have no idea what to do. So if you have not seen my videos and you want to see something absolutely terrifying and absolutely authentic, go and watch my videos.
A Ring camera ripped from its mount and carried into the woods, insulation torn through from the inside, a jump scare blur of yellow and dark coloring lunging from the rafters, and then the dog, his border collie Molly, refusing to come inside, shaking her head and backing away from the open door. Animals don't need to understand what they're sensing, they just respond to it. The fact that Molly won't cross the threshold matters, because dogs don't perform fear for the camera. What you don't get a clear look at in the compilation is the entity that lunged, moving too fast and too close for the camera to resolve into anything identifiable, which, depending on your perspective, is either the most frustrating detail or the most telling one. And this wasn't just something happening in the privacy of his own investigation, he took it live. Watch this.
This was captured from a live stream the other night. I had 1,200 people in this stream. They all saw this happen. Shout out to Savannah for recording this and sending it to me. Watch this.
Down, dude. Dude.
Over 1,000 people were watching when the screech erupted from the crawl space, sending the person filming into a full sprint out of the building, and then, after a moment of catching their breath outside, the faint, looping melody of a child's toy began playing from somewhere near the red wagon inside the shed. The comments came in fast. What is that music? Where does the music come from? Old-timey electronic notes floating out of a dark, cluttered space that had just screamed at someone loud enough to make them run. There's a theory that gets raised in cases involving this kind of sound phenomenon. The idea that certain presences use familiar audio triggers, things tied to childhood or memory, as a way of drawing people closer rather than driving them away. Make of that what you will, but it came right after the aggression, not before. If there's something in that shed choosing when to frighten and when to lure, that's a different kind of problem entirely. And by the time the next update came, the man's 4-year-old daughter, Maya, had already been telling him for days what she thought about the shed. Listen closely.
What a nice day. Maya, do you like the shed?
No.
Why?
Yeah, that's nasty.
Why? What does it do?
Noise.
Huh?
Inside of it has noise in it.
It has noise in it? Where?
Inside of the, we go up on the stairs,
yeah,
has noise. And Maya don't like it.
Oh my god.
No way. Like spooky noise?
Yes. No, loud.
Loud noise?
Yes. For loud noise.
And it scares you?
Yes, it scares me.
And Molly protects us. She doesn't let us go inside there, does she?
Yes. She lets us come outside and
Yeah.
we're new stars.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're not gonna. In that video, I asked my daughter what she thought about the shed, and she told you what she thought. She's been telling me for the last couple days how she feels about it. And there you go. I didn't tell her what to say. And my eyes and my skin are getting rashes and bumps all over it. I mean, it even looks like I have a black eye. It looks like 1,000 million pimples. Next Tuesday coming up, I'm having a medium on a live stream. It's 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please join.
Maya says the shed has noise in it, specifically up the stairs, and she doesn't like it. And while she's saying this, a low guttural groan rolls out of the static camera inside, followed seconds later by a crashing metallic clatter that makes the man filming gasp out loud. Then the shriek comes, a high-pitched electronic wail that slides down into a wet, gurgling growl. And now the man is showing his face to the camera, a rash spreading across his chest, up his neck, across his forehead, dark bruising forming under his eyes that he says appeared after the last time he went inside the shed. He's never had anything like it before. For those who take these cases seriously, a physical response like that, hives, apparent bruising, skin reactions after exposure to a specific location, is sometimes described in connection with prolonged proximity to what some researchers loosely call a negative attachment, an energy or presence that doesn't just disturb the space, but begins to affect the body of whoever keeps returning to it. A child is afraid of it, a dog won't go near it, a man's skin is reacting to it, and the only question left is what it's been doing up there this whole time, and why it sounds some nights like it's in pain, and other nights like it's the one causing it. The following video was captured on the night of March 24th, 2026 at exactly 9:35 p.m. by a Topo security camera mounted on a quiet rural property, far from busy roads, far from neighbors, far from anything that could easily explain what you're about to see. At first, it looks ordinary. The night is calm and nothing feels out of place, then the door moves. But that's not the part that unsettles people the most. Look closer at the window. For a brief moment, so quick you might miss it, a figure passes by, and here's where things start to feel wrong. Because whatever moved that door, whatever walked past that window, it doesn't behave like something bound by the same rules we are, and it raises a question that's hard to shake. What if there are things that move through our world freely, unseen most of the time, only revealing themselves in fragments like this? Not trapped, not tied to a place, just passing through. And if that's true, how often do they walk through spaces we think are empty? In this next clip, the footage comes from a security camera mounted inside what appears to be a workshop filled with tools, tables, and storage equipment, the kind of place that usually sits in complete stillness for hours. No movement, no activity, and no reason for anything to shift on its own. The timestamp reads 3:45 in the morning on March 10th, a time when everything, especially in a place like this, should be completely silent. But it isn't. Something is clearly disturbing the space, but nothing is visible. And then, a shadow moves. Some viewers believe a small animal could explain the initial movement, but if that were the case, you'd expect some kind of chain reaction. Other objects shifting, something knocking over, a visible trace of movement. But the room stays unnaturally contained. Others believe the location itself might play a role. The clip is said to be from Finkroken Brygge, a quiet coastal area in northern Norway. Isolated, surrounded by cold waters and long stretches of darkness during certain times of the year. Places like this have a long history of folklore tied to the unseen. In old Scandinavian stories, coastal buildings, boathouses especially, were believed to attract Vadir, nature-bound spirits said to inhabit land, water, and man-made spaces. They weren't always hostile, but they were territorial, known to move objects, create sounds, and make their presence known when disturbed or ignored. So when you watch that shadow move, is it something passing through, something tied to that location, or something that never really left? You decide. Now, in this next clip, someone filmed this from outside a property during the day, shooting handheld through a metal fence toward a backyard. The weather was overcast, the footage is low resolution and shaky, and at first glance, there's nothing obviously wrong. Just a yard, a tree, a white framed enclosure in the background, birds chirping steadily throughout. But then you notice something. Watch. The footage is said to have been captured near an elementary school in San Antonio, an area with a long, layered history. San Antonio is known for its deep cultural roots, but also for its share of paranormal stories. From reports around the famous ghost tracks, where people claim unseen forces move cars, to accounts of shadow figures seen near older buildings and school grounds. So when you see that movement in the corner, is it just a stray animal or something else? You decide what it is. This next video was recorded at night inside what appears to be a home, and whoever was holding the camera seemed to believe they'd caught something outside that couldn't easily be explained. There's no dramatic build-up here, no warning, just a camera pointed at a narrow window in a quiet room, a low mechanical hum filling the silence, and something on the other side of the glass that stopped them cold. Watch. Through the window, something absolutely strange appears. It doesn't move, it doesn't shift, and that stillness, for a lot of viewers, is exactly what makes it hard to dismiss. Some think it's a reflection of something inside the room caught in the glass, while others believe the shape is genuinely outside. A figure standing in the dark, watching. The person filming clearly didn't feel comfortable going closer to find out. Then, instead of stepping away, they turn the camera toward the inside of the room to see if there's any other thing around. Watch. Some viewers think spaces like this, dense with old objects and figurines, can act almost like an anchor for residual energy, trapping impressions from past owners or from the figures themselves if they carry any kind of history. Others see the footage and think the unease is entirely psychological, and after a shape in the window and a room that looks like this, you have to wonder what it actually feels like to spend a night there. What else did you see in the video? Now in this next clip, a young boy is being filmed in his family's living room during the daytime. Nothing about the setting feels unusual. The TV is off, and the house is quiet in that calm, mid-morning way. Earlier that day, according to the mother, her son had been complaining about a missing toy. Nothing strange, just the usual back and forth of a child insisting something had been there before. At one point, he even mentioned hearing something in the house the night before, but it was brushed off. Kids imagine things. That's normal. So that morning, she casually pulls out her phone and starts recording him while he searches around the living room, half amused, half trying to capture a cute moment. At first, everything feels light. He moves from one spot to another, checking under cushions, behind furniture. Then, this happened.
Weird.
As the boy searches around, a very unsettling sound is heard. It doesn't sound like anything in the house, not a chair scraping, not a pet, not a voice you can easily place. It's closer to a growl, but even that doesn't fully capture it. For a split second, the entire energy of the room shifts, and then it's gone. Moments like this tend to divide people. Some say it's just audio distortion, maybe something outside, maybe the microphone picking up a sound and warping it. Others suggest it could be something completely explainable that just sounds worse than it is. But then there's the other side. In many traditions, there are stories of entities that don't appear visually at first, but make themselves known through sound. Not full voices, not clear words, just low, unnatural tones, growls, murmurs, vibrations. So when you hear that sound, was it just a random noise caught at the wrong moment, or was it something in that room, making itself known? You be the judge. In this next clip, a young girl is sitting in her car seat during the day, happily snacking, crumbs everywhere, completely unbothered. The kind of ordinary moment parents capture all the time. She's chewing, looking toward the camera, and everything about the scene feels completely routine. Then something changes. Watch. In a split second, her snack shifts unnaturally. Not slipping, not falling, but moving in a way that suggests it was taken, as if something unseen reached out and pulled it directly from her hand. The motion isn't loose or accidental, it has direction, intent, and timing that feels disturbingly precise, especially considering there is nothing visible around her that could have caused it. When an unseen force interacts physically in such a direct way, especially with a child, it can be a form of testing boundaries, small actions that escalate over time if not acknowledged or addressed. In certain African and Asian folklore, similar encounters are sometimes linked to mischievous or even malevolent spirits that engage in minor acts first, taking small objects, creating confusion, before progressing into more noticeable disturbances. So now, the question isn't just what took the snack, but how long it's been there, close enough to reach out and touch without ever being noticed. This next clip comes from a family living in a home that once belonged to someone who recently passed away, a detail that already adds weight to what was captured, especially in places where people believe that death doesn't always mean departure, at least not immediately. At the time this happened, the mother was away for a few days, leaving her son and the rest of the household behind. The night quiet, everyone else already in bed and asleep. the kind of stillness where even the smallest sound becomes noticeable. Her son was sitting alone in front of the wood stove, warming up, the room dim, the atmosphere calm, nothing out of place, nothing suggesting that anything unusual was about to happen. And then he heard something. Listen closely. A woman's voice softly saying, "Hey," not distorted, not distant, but close enough to feel like it came from inside the room, directed, intentional, as if it was meant for him to hear it. In certain traditions, it is believed that when someone passes away, their presence can linger for a period of time, particularly in places they were deeply connected to. Not always in a harmful way, but sometimes in a state of transition, where they are still aware of their surroundings and occasionally attempt to interact. These interactions are often subtle at first, a voice, a movement, a sound meant to be noticed but not understood. But there are also more unsettling interpretations. Some believe that not every voice heard in these situations belongs to who people think it does. There are entities known for mimicking human voices, using simple, familiar words like "hey" or calling out softly to draw attention, to test whether they are being heard, and in some cases, to invite a response. These are often described as deceptive presences, ones that do not reveal themselves fully, but instead begin with something small, something harmless sounding, before escalating over time. So, what do you think was in there with him? The following video was captured by a group of ghost hunters who decided to explore an abandoned house after several reports suggested something dark was attached to the property. From the moment they stepped inside, they described the atmosphere as heavy, tense, and almost hostile. The kind of place where silence doesn't feel empty, but watchful. Believing the presence to be malevolent, they began praying, hoping to protect themselves and possibly force whatever was there to reveal itself. But according to many paranormal beliefs, prayer doesn't always bring peace. Some say it agitates negative entities, almost like shining a light on something that wants to stay hidden. Watch what happens next.
Bun. Ești sigur? Da. Hai, uite acum zic. Ia. Cred în bunul Dumnezeu, Tatăl Altotțitorul, Făcătorul cerului și al pământului.
Oprește-te, oprește! Băi, Alin, uite alea cum fac bilile toate trei.
Știu unde am rămas.
Ea nu va pleca.
Da, știu când va pleca. Tatăl al tot țiitorului, Făcătorul cerului și al pământului, care pretutindeni și pe toate le împlinești, vistierul bunătăților și dătătorule de viață, vino și ne slăzășluiește întru noi și ne cu toată închinăciunea. Băi, nebunilor, băi!
Fai de capul meu! Nu mai zi, măi, te rog eu!
Ce s-o sparg? Nu s-o sparg nimic. Cum să spargă ceva?
Frate, nimic nu.
Doamne ferește. Dar ce să spargă?
Hai de capul meu!
Dar nu se vede.
Mi-e frică, nu mai fă, frate, că murim!
Păi da, bine că s-o auzit spart, dar nu-i spart nimic. Deci vă asigur eu că nu-i spart nimic. Ce să fie spart?
Dau arda aici că mâine, că nu-i jali, măi.
Viewers believe this reaction suggests the presence felt threatened, not comforted by the prayers. Others argue that prayer can act as a form of confrontation, drawing attention from entities that feed on fear or resistance. Whatever the case, the timing is hard to ignore, but until we get more updates about this house, this remains unsolved. Now, in the following videos, a man and his family are convinced they're living with a ghost. In fact, they've gone as far as giving it a name, Ghost Malone, a playful nod to Post Malone, because according to them, the presence feels calm, relaxed, and non-threatening. They say things move around their house almost every night, especially toys, but insist it has never tried to hurt them. Still, many viewers can't help but ask the same question. How long does a spirit stay harmless? Take a look at what a typical night in their home looks like.
It's 3:30 in the morning. I swear on my life. For freaking toy cars. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. No. No, sir. No, ma'am. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know whether to wake Elizabeth or somebody call Justin Nunley or an exorcist. I mean, I'm not scared, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't shaking. So I'm just gonna leave it there till the morning for Elizabeth to come play with it. And it's not electronical, y'all. There ain't no damn motor in that thing. I feel so weird and out of place right now. I don't know if it's still there. To be truthful, I'm thinking about just leaving Elizabeth in Revelation and going somewhere for the night. I don't know what to do. Let's check on it. You still there? Pirates of the Caribbean's getting good. I'm not scared. I'm just kind of freaked out because, like, it's friendly. Hasn't thrown it.
What immediately stands out is the toy car. It has no batteries, no electrical components, and yet it moves on its own. Some viewers tried to brush it off as coincidence, uneven flooring, or leftover momentum, but those explanations quickly fall apart when you realize this isn't a one-time event, and it's not just one toy. Similar things have happened repeatedly, and after seeing this clip, many people weren't convinced that whatever was in the house was truly harmless. Some believe genuinely good spirits are rare, and when they do exist, they don't usually interact directly with the living. Concerned viewers suggested the father try certain cleansing methods to see how the presence would react, a way to test whether the entity was truly peaceful or simply pretending. So the next morning, he followed some of those suggestions. Watch what happened.
I actually fell asleep, and this is what I woke up to. Elizabeth. Baby. Hey. Okay, no, for real, like, so what are we doing? Oh. Okay. Are you... Somebody said salt. Hold on.
I don't know if you're supposed to draw a circle around it.
Well, it's a half circle, but I don't think you're supposed to do anything else. I don't know. Y'all got suggestions, let me know.
Instead of focusing on the fact that the holy water, salt, and prayers didn't seem to drive anything away, viewers noticed something far more disturbing. If you look closely at the doorway, you can see what appears to be a small, childlike figure standing completely still. That single detail sent chills through the comment section, but that raised another unsettling question. Why did the cleansing attempt seem to have little to no effect? Well, things escalated beyond toys. Watch this.
Are you there? Yeah, I thought so. Okay. Well, that's one of the things that I've discovered.
Whenever the house goes quiet, all he has to do is ask, "Are you there?" And something moves in response. At that point, many viewers said it could no longer be coincidence. But what troubled people even more was the interaction itself. A lot of paranormal believers warn that acknowledging a spirit gives it energy. Others say responding invites it closer, strengthens its presence, or even allows attachment. Despite all of that, the family continues living as normal, still convinced it isn't dangerous. One night, they didn't only check if it was there, they tried to communicate with it. Watch closely.
So we are all sitting here, enjoying our Taco Bell, right? And Ghost Malone was over there shaking the door a second ago. Ghost Malone, if you are still around, do something.
It was a sign.
Oh, okay. Okay. Nonchalant. Alright, so ironically, I'm watching Ghostbusters, right? Ghost Malone, Ghosty. Yo. Are you kidding? Alright, so I've been asking Ghost Malone some questions. Okay, so 1 time if you're there, 2 times, or I guess no times if you're not. Definitely there, okay. Are you friendly? Okay, okay. Do you like Ghostbusters? No? Okay, do you like movies? Okay, okay. Alright, just not Ghostbusters, I guess it's insulting. Are you here to cause harm? Okay. Okay. Man, I wish I knew Morse code. We'd try that. Are you an older spirit? Okay, but not a bad spirit. Okay. Is there more than one of you? Okay.
Many believe dark entities don't reveal their true nature immediately. Instead, they appear calm, friendly, even playful, a tactic often compared to the Annabelle doll, which was first believed to be harmless before far darker activity followed. Because of this, viewers are increasingly convinced that whatever this entity is, it may be growing stronger, not kinder. People urge the family to stop interacting, cleanse the home thoroughly, and protect themselves before things escalated further. But none of the things happening bothers them. Take a look.
So, a couple weird things have happened tonight. Like my mom's painting over there has moved. Ghosty. Ghost Malone. You there? Don't judge the trash. It's trash day. Ghosty. Okay. Maxie, what was that? Huh? So we're sitting here. Revelation here, is it?
Hi, Maxie.
It should also be noted that we've had several offers from paranormal people to come here and whatnot. We're down, but there's been a few of them that are private profiles, minus the big ones you guys have suggested. Nobody's reached out, but I don't know. I might take offers for people to just come stay the night so you can see whether it's real or not for yourself. I don't know. But yeah, I am gonna take a list of questions. I've been writing down in the comments all the questions you guys have for Ghost Malone. And then we're going to do the Stranger Things light or dog button things to see if that does anything.
This time, even the dog reacts. As the playpen moves, the dog retreats into its cage, a response many believe animals only show when they sense something threatening. According to viewers, a presence strong enough to move objects, frighten a dog, and respond intelligently isn't something to take lightly. Some believe this entity was never harmless, just patient. But until the family shares more updates, all anyone can do is hope the situation doesn't turn dangerous. Now, in this next video, a guy who goes by the username Mosh moved to Appalachia, and according to him, he hasn't had a single peaceful moment since. Appalachia is one of those places people constantly warn you about. Dense forests, winding back roads, long stretches with no cell service, and generations of folklore that all seem to agree on one thing. If something calls out to you out there, you don't answer. Many believe the land itself holds onto things that don't like being disturbed. Mosh has been documenting his experiences both inside his home and outside, and in several of his earlier videos, paranormal investigators and longtime viewers suggested he might be dealing with what are often called jokester spirits, entities that don't immediately harm you, but thrive on fear, confusion, and reaction. They mimic sounds, footsteps, and voices just enough to make you question your sanity. One night, while walking, Mosh suddenly got the overwhelming feeling that something was following him. Not just a sound, but a presence, staying just out of sight. Trusting his instincts, he checked the camera he installed in the house and saw this. Watch. After reviewing the footage, many viewers say this explains a lot. The unexplained footsteps, the whispers he's heard when no one is around, and that constant sense of being watched. Some believe whatever this is has been testing boundaries, slowly revealing itself once it realized Mosh was paying attention. Others think it's feeding off his fear, waiting for the moment he reacts or responds. So, what do you see in this video? And more importantly, what do you think has been following him this whole time? The following video is shared by a man who had previously documented how everything in his apartment changed the moment he brought home a set of old toys. Almost immediately, the space felt different. Knocking sounds began echoing through the walls, objects shifted on their own, and at times the presence felt so overwhelming that he would lock himself in another room out of fear. But this next video unsettles viewers for a different reason. This time, none of the dolls or toys are visible anywhere in the apartment, and yet, the activity continues. Watch closely.
Son las 2 de la mañana, se están escuchando ruidos en la sala. Está moviendo la silla, raza. La madre. Escucho algo acá, raza. Un balón de desodorante. ¿Qué estará pasando, anda? Madre.
Whatever is disturbing this apartment hasn't left with the objects themselves. Many believe spirits don't always stay attached to the item that brought them in. Some think the toys may have acted as a doorway, something that allowed an entity to anchor itself to the space rather than the objects. Others argue this could be residual energy, replaying moments of disturbance long after the source is removed. But there's also a darker theory, that removing the items only angered whatever was invited in. But what do you think? Now in this next clip, the popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian investigates the Mabel Tainter Memorial Theater, a location widely considered one of the most haunted places in Wisconsin. The theater was commissioned in 1889 by Captain Andrew Tainter and his wife Bertha in honor of their late daughter Mabel Tainter, who tragically died at just 19 years old. In life, Mabel was deeply passionate about music and the arts, and because of that, no expense was spared in the theater's design. From its grand architecture to its detailed interior, the building was meant to preserve her spirit and legacy. While exploring the theater late at night, Ian begins taking photographs inside the theater room when he suddenly hears a loud bang echo through the building. Tracing the noise, Ian follows it to an office once used by Reverend Henry Maxson. Watch closely.
That's his old chalkboard right there. And that is his handwriting. They've kept that preserved. That must have been from his last lecture, before dying. Father, if you are indeed in here, could you tap on your chalkboard? Make a tapping sound like you're writing on it. I would be amazed if you did that. What the? That sounded like paper being moved. It was on this desk. Like, whoa, you see that? Dude, look at that. That has to be it. Look at that, it's literally hanging off of the table.
Maxson wasn't just any figure connected to this place. He was the Unitarian pastor who originally convinced Andrew and Bertha Tainter to build the memorial for Mabel. When the building officially opened in 1890, it served not only as a theater, but also as a community center and the permanent home of the Unitarian Society of Menomonee. Maxon himself gave the presentation address at the building's dedication, and for years, Sunday services were held directly on the theater's stage, with Maxon preaching to the congregation. Before leaving the office, Ian decides to set his camera down, leaving it recording as he steps away. What happens next is unsettling. Did Ian manage to capture the ghost of Reverend Henry Maxton still sitting at his desk, tied to the theater he once served? For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now.